These sports records are so insane they might never be broken. Let's start with the wildest of them all. Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, 1962. Yes, Wilt's 100-point game. I remember it like it was yesterday, except it was 1962, and I wasn't even there, but let an old man dream, all right. Back in those days, they didn't have your fancy TikToks or highlight reels, just a grainy black and white photo of Wilt holding up a piece of paper with 100 scribbled on it like he just won a school raffle. The man didn't just break records, he made the scoreboard tab out. No three-point line, no overtime, just buckets. Lots of them. He scored so much the other team started looking like they were auditioning for a part in a defensive comedy sketch. I tell you, they could put a brick wall in front of him, and he'd still drop 60. These young fellas today score 40 and need a Gatorade and a therapist. Wilt, he walked off the court like he just did a light jog. Different breed, I tell you. Bonus fact, Wilt also averaged 50.4 PPG that season. No one's even come close in a single game since. Closest? Kobe with 81. Michael Phelps, 28 Olympic medals, 23 gold. Yes, Michael Phelps, the human fish. I don't know what they were feeding that boy, but it sure wasn't just Wheaties. 28 Olympic medals, 23 of them gold. That's not an athlete. That's a medal hoarder. The Olympic Village probably had to reinforce the podium every time he stepped up. I mean, back in my day, if you brought home one medal, your whole town threw a parade. Phelps? He had so many, he probably used bronze ones as paperweights. The man swam like he owed Poseidon money, just relentless. Other swimmers were training for one event. Phelps was out here competing in every stroke like he didn't know what sleep was. I get tired just watching him. His arms were moving so fast, I thought my TV was glitching. Legend doesn't even begin to cover it. That boy's part dolphin. Rickey Henderson, 1,406 stolen bases. Rickey Henderson, man, the stolen base machine. Rickey didn't run bases, he disrespected them. He'd steal second, third, and if the catcher blinked wrong, he'd steal home just to prove a point. I swear pitchers used to check first base before throwing like Rickey was a horror movie villain. He's behind you. The man stole 1,406 bases. That's not a stat, that's grand larceny. And the best part? Rickey would talk about himself in the third person like he was narrating his own documentary. Rickey is the greatest. And you know what? He was right. If confidence was a stat, Brady would lead in that too. He once slid into a stolen base, stood up, dusted himself off, and probably told the ump, "Rickey's just getting started." They don't make him like that anymore, son. Rickey didn't just play the game. He stole the show. Cal Ripken Jr. 2,632 consecutive games played. Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man of baseball. Not the one in the metal suit, no sir. This one wore eye black and showed up to work like your grandpa on double overtime. 2,632 consecutive games. That's over 16 seasons without calling in sick. Not once. No flu, no stub toe, no load management. Cal probably played through a paper cut and still went 3 for 4. I knew guys who'd fake a back injury just to skip a company softball game. Not calendar, he showed up every single day like it was opening day. The man had more starts than my old Ford truck, and that thing's got 300,000 miles on it. When he finally took a day off, even the opposing team gave him a standing ovation. Cal Ripken didn't just redefine dedication. He gave it a jersey and batted cleanup. Legends like that don't call in. They clock in. Nolan Ryan, 5,714 career strikeouts. Nolan Ryan, the Texas flamethrower with a fastball that could peel paint off a barn door. The man didn't pitch, he intimidated. 7 no-hitters, over 5,700 strikeouts, and he pitched like he was mad the battery that showed up. You didn't step into the box against Nolan. You entered a high-speed negotiation with fate. And let me tell you, fate usually struck out swinging. The guy played for 27 seasons, Longer than some marriages and threw heaters well into his 40s like Father Time was scared to mention. And who could forget the time that young buck Robin Ventura charged the mound? Bad move, son. Nolan put him in a headlock and punched him like it was a rodeo brawl. That wasn't a fight, that was a life lesson. Nolan Ryan didn't just throw heat, he brought the smoke, lit the fire, and left the stadium still smoldering. Tom Brady, 102,614 career passing yards. Tom Brady, the quarterback who just refused to retire like a guy but keeps showing up to high school reunions, looking younger than everyone else. The result is 102,614 career passing yards and the 7 Super Bowl rings. That's not a football career, that's a jewelry collection. I mean, the man had more rings than Thanos and didn't even need a snap. Drafted 199th overall, looked like he sold insurance at first. Next thing you know, he's out there tearing up defenses like it's a Sunday hobby. Played into his mid-40s and still had the arm of a 25-year-old and the diet of a monk. No caffeine, no sugar. Probably hasn't touched a cheeseburger since Y2K. And don't get me started on his playoff stats. He was basically the final boss of the NFL. Teams didn't try to beat Brady, they just hoped he'd get bored and retire. But nope. Kept coming back like a sequel nobody asked for, but somehow it was always a box office hit. Love him or hate him, Tom Brady is the standard. Jerry Rice, 22,895 yards. Jerry Rice, the man who turned catching footballs into an Olympic event. 22,895 receiving yards. Let me say that again so your fantasy team can cry. 22,895. That's not a stat, that's a cross-country road trip. He caught passes in so many decades. I'm pretty sure it is in some VHS highlights and 4K replays. The man ran roads so crisp defenders needed GPS and a therapist. And he wasn't just fast, he trained like a man who thought gravity was optional. Of those sprints in the heat, hands like Velcro and work ethic that shame a Marine. You see today's receivers do a TikTok dance after one touchdown. Jerry just handed the ball to the ref and jogged back like he had somewhere to be, but the end zone again. And the best part, that record isn't just untouched, it's untouchable. You could clone today's top receiver, give him 2 careers, and he still wouldn't catch Jerry. Greatest of all time. Son, they ought to rename the position Rice-Receiver. Emmitt Smith, 18,355 career rushing yards. Emmitt Smith, the bulldozer in shoulder pads with feet like a ballet dancer. 18,355 career rushing yards. That's not just a record, that's enough ground to mow a football field 200 times. Emmitt didn't run around defenders. He ran through them like they owed him money. Cowboys handed him the ball, and he made linebackers question their life choices. And don't let that smile fool you. Under that helmet was a workhorse with the patience of a monk and the vision of a hawk. He wasn't flashy, he was efficient. Just give him the rock, and he turned 3 yards into 30 without breaking a sweat. Played behind a legendary O-line, sure, but he still had to hit the hole, and it hit like he was late for dinner. Most running backs burn out in 5 years. Emmitt just kept on chugging, setting records, and collecting touchdowns like they were coupons. And the man did it with a separated shoulder once. Tougher than a $2 steak. They can talk about speed and flash all they want. Emmitt Smith. He was the standard. Wayne Gretzky, 2,857 career points. Wayne Gretzky, the great one. And I ain't just saying that 'cause it sounds cool. He literally broke hockey. The man put up 2,857 career points. Let that simmer a second. You'd erased every goal he ever scored, and he'd still be the NHL's all-time points leader just off assists. That's not a stat, that's witchcraft. You saw the ice like he had a cheat code, passing the puck to places people hadn't even skated to yet. Goalie's nightmare. Defense's migraine. And let's be honest, Gretzky didn't look like a bruiser. He looked like your high school algebra teacher. But the second the puck dropped, genius mode. He made other players look like they were skating in mud. The man was so good, the NHL had to basically retire his number league-wide just to make it fair again. You don't measure hockey greatness anymore. You measure how far behind Gretzky everybody is. Which record blew your mind the most? Drop a comment, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications for more wild sports trivia.